Alrighty guys, my name's Connor Itzen. I'm part of the UCO PGM program. For my final project, I'm deciding to do the flop shot. It's an unconventional shot that a lot of people know about. A lot of amateurs don't really take the time to practice the shot. If you go on the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, if you go on the DP Tour, DP World Tour, you'll see a lot of these guys hitting the higher shots around the green, and they're getting a lot of spin, they're getting a lot of height, and they're getting it closer to the hole. And it's not a coincidence why this is happening. The flop shot is becoming harder than ever, in my opinion. I feel like more people are just introducing this into their golf game, especially low handicap golfers, because it provides them with something else rather than a bump and run. So today I'm going to teach you about the medium flight shot, the medium flighted flop shot versus like the higher flop shot, which you would do around the greens, around bunkers, and like in some higher rough that you have decent lines in. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So I'll hit off the first shot off of like a medium lie. We got a little front pin here that we're looking at. A little bit of upslope going into this, into a little bit of a front pin. So what you're going to want to do is set up. I like to put the ball personally in the front of my stance. So if I'm thinking about it, maybe just under shoulder width apart from me, I'm going to open up my stance to the target line. So just like probably I would find a target about 5 yards left, aim at that with your feet. I'm going to aim at my feet, and then my club face, if this is neutral, my club face is going to be a little bit open to where I'm aiming at. And my goal for this is to create a pendulum effect on my chip. So as far back as I'm going is how far front I want to go on my flop shot. This is going to help me create balance and sustain loft throughout the golf shot. So something like this, get here, pendulum effect, something like this that goes just up, down, back into that music effect. So I'll try it with the medium shot. Very simple, a little bit higher loft. That's higher loft because we're on an upslope as well. It's going to exaggerate it a little bit. So that's going to help me sustain my golf shot when I'm getting here. Letting the hands just come down with that club face open is going to get that loft, going to get that ball into the air. Okay. So you just saw the medium shot. It's a little higher than usual, but we were on the upslope, so I'm going to give it credit there. But this is going to be a little bit higher than the other shot. We're going to do the full flop, was what I like to call it, which is the same setup. I'm going to aim left. But instead of 5 yards left, I'm actually going to aim about 7 yards left. So like there's trees over there. And then instead of being just a little bit open, I'm going to be pretty far open, where it's going to feel feel very uncomfortable to a lot of amateurs, because with the club face open, you can, like people say, you can create more problems within the golf swing, the contact wise, whether that be you're in a bad line, you can't get the club face to open correctly. It's just, there's a lot of scary things that can happen with the flop shot. However, I think just two main variables with flop shots is soft hands, making sure that you're not being really stiff at the bottom, because then that can lead to you lifting up on the club and thinning it over the green, which you see a lot of amateurs do. And confidence, making sure that you have soft hands and that you're confident in your swing, that you're not going here and just stopping, because then you're going to end up chunking it 5 feet in front of you, which is also something I see a lot with amateurs. So here's going to be the flop shot. Just had my club face open to the impact line. Club face was open, so the ball started to the right, went pretty high, which had a lot of spin on it, which allowed the ball to stop really quick on the green if I need to go to a short-sided pin. Okay, so the last two shots that we actually hit were in the fairway, mainly going to be green side fairway if you're missing the ball short, maybe around the fringe area. On this scenario, you just ended up in the rough, you're a little short-sided from a bunker, you got a middle pin, so not a decent pin, or not a bad pin to be accessible for a flop shot. However, you do have to go over a bunch more grass and some bunker play, as you can see. So on this shot, it's going to be very similar to the second shot that we hit, which is the full flop shot. So what I want to do is aim left of the target as well. So if I'm aiming to the right pin, about 7 yards left, maybe 8 depending on what you like. We're going to open the face. And in the rough, you got to be very careful with not getting too steep with it, because you'll end up going right underneath the ball. So one thing you want to do is make sure that you identify how low or how high up the ball's sitting up. So in this situation, you get a pretty decent lie out of here. So what you want to do is, one thing I like to do just personally when I'm teaching people the flop shot, is figure out that hovering line that you want to go to. So I see the ball's fairly set up, I'm going to just barely hover underneath the ball, and that's going to be my start line for what I want to go and hit the ball up, so I don't get too far under it and I don't fit. So yeah, here's the flop shot. me get the ball up. And that ball is going to stop really quick on a dime because I'm having the grooves of the club to scatter the ball, which gets once again, that height that you're getting, that's just going to create more spin. All right, thank you guys for watching my tutorial on how to hit a flop shot around the greens. I hope that you learned something today, and maybe you can take this into fruition when you go onto the golf course. So with that being said, may golf for major.